Dear Diary, the first month of the season is over and we are undefeated for now. We backed up draws in our first two games with comfortable wins away over Bolton, 4-0 with a fully rotated team in the Carabao Cup, and Watford 2-0 to get our first win in the Premier League. That puts us right up in the European fight again, albeit it's very early days. Nobody got sold before or on deadline day, so the squad is exactly as it was as we are about to host Brentford and travel to take on Arsenal. I'm confident going into the first of those games, but the second might be tougher. Hopefully we find a way to keep that O in the loss column. Until next time. Hello everyone and welcome to episode 69 of FM23 here on Shaun Does FM with Cardiff City. I hope you are doing well, and coming up today we play two games in the month of September, both in the Premier League. First up we host Brentford, and off the back of that we travel to the Emirates to take on the current Premier League champions and Champions League winners in Arsenal. So if you're looking forward to those two games in today's episode, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and have been enjoying this series here on the channel, also consider hitting that subscribe button and turning that notification bell on as well. It is greatly appreciated. But we've played a few games, as you saw in the intro, off the back of our first two in the Premier League, which we did play yesterday. If you missed the episode, I'll leave a link to it over in the top right corner. Thankfully, off the back of those draws in both of those games, we have found a bit of winning form. Ignore that result against Luton Town. That was a friendly that we did play during the international break, but we did win that as well, off the back of comfortable wins away from home over Bolton in the EFL Cup second round and Watford in the Premier League. So it does mean early stages this season we are unbeaten, going to take on West Brom in the third round of that Carabao Cup. Another game we should be winning against the team from down in the Championship. And in terms of the Premier League going into these games at the start of September, we do find ourselves in 5th spot on 5 points after 3 games, albeit still very, very early days, so not too sure how much we should be reading into that. But a decent start, not as good as we had last season, but still not doing badly, considering where the season preview did have us a 19th on their predictions. We are taking on Brentford and Arsenal in today's episode, but one quick bit of housekeeping. No sales were done before or on transfer deadline day, so it does mean that we have skipped over that, because we had no money to bring any more players in. So unfortunately, not much doing on deadline day for this season, but we got our business done early at the start of the week in our squad, exactly the same as it was going into yesterday's episode. But first up today, we do take on Brentford. They won the Conference League last season, so they are playing in the Europa League fairly soon. As you can see, a mixed start to their season, a quite heavy loss to Arsenal, and then off the back of that, a draw against Stoke and a win over Tottenham. So some interesting results there. Going to be interesting to see if we can continue a decent record that we built up over these guys in the Premier League last season. And then off the back of that, probably the toughest test that you can get in the Premier League at the moment, as we do take on Arsenal, the champions, and the team that did also win the Champions League last season. That is going to be very interesting at the Emirates, albeit opening day last season we did pick up a win in that same fixture. So going to be interesting to see if we can do something similar with a different tactical style than we did employ last season. Of course, these days using that vertical tiki-taka. And in terms of us, no injury or suspension concerns going into the first game of today's episode. So we'll come back shortly with the team sheets as we take on Brentford in the Premier League and hopefully keep ourselves right up there near the top of the table. And here are the team sheets for this first game of today's episode. With no injury or suspension concerns, we are at full strength for this one and hopefully can continue on our winning way. Since yesterday's episode, they are Brentford. They are playing a 4-3-3. Greaves at the back is quite a good centre-back. Might be someone to keep an eye out on, but hopefully we can pick up 3 points at home. And as I said, keep ourselves right in that European hunt nice and early. And just past the 10-minute mark, we get our first highlight of this one. It's been a pretty quiet game so far, but we get a throw in here inside the final third. Our Bloshy inside the box does lose out on possession, and it will be Brentford here who did get a chance there briefly to try and do something on the counter-attack, but thankfully Goodmanson did recover to get us back on the front foot now. Blanco Blun inside the box, not the worst effort there, but just hooks that one wide. So still 0-0 coming up to the 15-minute mark. And shortly off the back of that previous highlight, we are now down the other end for a Brentford throw-in just inside of our half. They play that one down our right-hand side, but Ben Hardy will tidy things up. Mensado, he finds Bayum, and we distribute this to our centre-backs. McGuinness there takes some time on the ball, and we eventually, hopefully, will start to make our way forward, albeit playing with a lower tempo this season. So it might take us a little bit longer at times to get going forward than we were last season with our more high-tempo, fluid counter-attacking style, which it looks like Brentford might actually be employing in this game. But we are taking our time here, just waiting for a gap to appear. And we do find Jovic down this right-hand side. He picks out Ben Hardy. Al Bloshy plays the ball over the top for Enesali. Marco Brun in behind the Brentford defence. They had time to recover. They didn't. And Marco Brun heads that one down into the bottom right corner. His 50th goal for Cardiff City apparently. And it gives us a fairly early 1-0 lead here at home in this Premier League clash. Lovely ball out there for Sully, and Marco Brun does stay onside. Heads that one home as you would expect. And we do grab a 1-0 lead. And only a few minutes off the back of that opening goal, it was Brentford there trying to do something down the left-hand side, but Ben Hardy will get the ball back for us, and yet again, looks like we might take some time here to play out from the back, but a good start, good goal there to Marco Brun, his 50th for the club, and Quezada in the midfield will pick out Jovic, plays a ball in behind here for Marco Brun. He will chip the goalkeeper, grabs an early double. This time it is Jovic with the assist. He has had a very strong start to life here at Cardiff City, and just like that we do grab an early 2-0 lead, and this is going to plan, albeit won't say too much more than that, of course, because something similar did happen against Crystal Palace yesterday, and we nearly found a way to blow all 3 points in that game. But a good start here, Marco Brun at the double to put us 2-0 up. And just before halftime, we have one more highlight in this first half against Brentford with that 2-0 lead as a goal kick, and Bayum did make his way forward for a little bit. Now plays that across to McGuinness, and Ben Hardy will seek out Jovic down that right-hand side, but Paloa's there to tidy things up for Brentford, and Capri will pump this deep, but hopefully with a high line here, we do win that ball back in the air. We just do enough there for, I think that was Farias in the midfield who got that ball back for us. And now we try and do something again down this right-hand side. Nice ball that from Al Bloshy for Marco Brun. Tries to get an early hat-trick, comes off the post, and he was offside as well. And I think that might about do it for this first half. It was a very good one for us, and we go into the sheds with a 2-0 lead. Brentford, no shots on target so far, and we've had just over double the overall amount of shots free on target, and very, very happy with how this one is going at the moment. A comfortable 2-0 lead as we'll get things back underway. No need to make any changes just yet, and hopefully today we can hold on for all 3 points at home. And just shy of the hour mark, it is Brentford with the first highlight in the second half. A corner in their favour, but thankfully Goodmanson will head that one away. But Damsgaard puts this into the mix. So Greaves there does get a header off, gets in that one somehow despite the efforts of McGuinness. But it does stay at 2-0 as we just get past the hour mark. And just off the back of that, we have picked up a red injury. So roll the rigger.
Yeah.
Because Enesali is going to be forced from the field. We'll just check exactly what kind of injury this is if we can. A potential knee injury, so not ideal, but Orellano will come on for him. Not ideal with 25 minutes left in this one. Hopefully can still hold on to our lead, and hopefully Sally won't be out for too long. And with around 15 minutes to go in this one, we're going to make our last batch of substitutions. Jashari did come on for Al Bloshy only a few minutes ago, but off the back of that, it is now Jovic who is down to a red heart, so Dominguez will come on for him also. We will take off McGuinness, who can get quite injury prone, for Niakate, and with our last substitution, Bar can come on for Quezada, and we still hold a 2-0 lead with just under 15 minutes left. And just about to enter injury time in this game, it has been a very comfortable watch off the back of those 2 goals around the 20-minute mark to Marco Brun. Brentford still yet to really do much off the back of that. Only 4 shots overall, none on target, and that is a very comprehensive performance, exactly what we do want with this vertical tiki-taka style, dominating the ball and dominating the game. The one concern, of course, that injury potentially to Enes Sully, but that is a good 2-0 win to keep up our decent little run that we have had off the back of yesterday's episode. That's now our third clean sheet in a row in a competitive fixture as well, which is very good. Now, Enes Sully's injury, we can see it here, sprained knee ligaments. He will be out for 4 to 7 weeks, so that will hurt us for a little while, unfortunately, for the next month or so, as we are about to take on a team like Arsenal as well. Not great timing, but thankfully some good depth in that area with Orellano and Hurtado as well, so we do have some decent players who can step in on that left-hand side. But the main thing is that we have picked up 3 points from that one, and for now we go up to third on the Premier League table, albeit with some teams including Arsenal still yet to play their fourth game, but that will set up an intriguing matchup as we travel to the Emirates. We'll come back shortly for the team sheets, as hopefully we can beat Arsenal yet again away from home. And we are back for the second game of today's episode. There are Arsenal. As you can see, despite the fact they are not on top of the Premier League table, that is because they are a game behind everyone else, still in very, very good form. In terms of us, just the one change in our starting 11, as expected, Orellano comes in for Sully, Hurtado on the bench thanks to that injury. These days, it is going to be 4th versus 5th, but hopefully we can do a decent job here away from home and maybe keep ourselves inside that top 4. And just shy of the half-hour mark, we finally get the first highlight in this game. It is a corner in our favour. Arsenal do head that one away, but Falius does get a shot off. That one goes just over that top left corner. So the first chance was in our favour. As you can see these days, quite an even game. As Arsenal get a good chance down the other end, just put that one over the bar. So an even game so far. As you can see, Arsenal picking up a lot of yellow cards, but with about 10 minutes to go in this first half, it does remain 0-0. And with around about 5 minutes to go in this first half, we'll get our next highlight as a chance here for us to play out from the back, off the back of a goal kick. But Arsenal are pressing quite high here. Goodmanson tries to clear that one, and it might give Arsenal a chance here to get on the score sheet. Saka gets that ball before Goodmanson, albeit he eventually will clear that one away, but Marco Blun can't win it in the air. Now, Brobby there surely was offside, puts it wide, and in fact, he was onside, so thankfully that is a big miss there from Brobby. And with a few minutes left in this first half, still 0-0, albeit this looks like a really dangerous area for a direct free kick from Arsenal. Martin Ødegaard is going to take it. He pole drives that top right corner. Just not a spot you want to be giving free kicks away from. And just before halftime, Arsenal do grab a 1-0 lead. Not ideal, because it did look like we were doing quite a good job there of holding on to a clean sheet for now, but for the first time in a little while, we can see the goal in a competitive game, albeit if you look at the stats, Arsenal probably deserved that, so I think we'll go unbalanced for the second half, because we did go cautious for this one with Arsenal being quite a good team, and we go into the sheds 1-0 down, and with that in mind, a few players out there on quite poor ratings, as well as Ben Hardy, down to a red heart, so we're going to have to take him off for Dujon Sterling, but also both centre-backs and Marco Blun on a poor rating. So that means that Niakate will come on for Olavium. We'll put him on the right-hand side thanks to the fact that he is actually a ball-playing defender, and that might just suit a little bit with El Bloshy being out left, so trying to split those guys on different sides with some playmaking roles. Now also, no more centre-backs on the bench, but Goodmanson can play in that role, so McGuinness will come off for Stovall. And to round off these halftime subs, we will put our attacker as a deep lying forward, because Valise will come on for Marco Brun. Hopefully can get another goal off of the bench, but a bit of an average first half here. Hopefully going balanced will help us out in the second half. We'll get it back underway, 1-0 down. And just past the hour mark, no highlights so far in the second half, but Facundo Falius is only going okay on a 6.5, also picked up a yellow card. I think what we're going to do here is bring on Carlos Dominguez, probably our best player left on the bench, and what that will mean is Golan Jovic can play as a cam for the later stages of this one, so we'll just shuffle things around a little bit, but hopefully that might help us grab an equaliser with around about 30 minutes left. And it's taken a long time for another highlight here in the second half, but Arsenal here will get a chance to play out from the back, just off the back of us, going a bit more direct and with a bit more of a higher tempo. That is a poor pass there, though, from one of our players. Thankfully, we did win it back, albeit Dominguez just finds a way to keep it. And then Quezada gives that one away to Gabriel Jesus from outside of the box. He finds the bottom right corner, and that is an absolute giveaway. And Arsenal now pretty much guaranteed to go home with all 3 points. I say go home. They're already at home, but you know what I mean. Poor there from Quezada. Gabriel Jesus robs him of the ball. Our defence don't quite close him down, but still, it's a top finish. Maybe Mixado should position himself better, but it does find right that bottom right corner. So off the back of that, we will go attacking, and we get a highlight immediately off the back of that. Hopefully, we don't score, because I do feel like that will just frustrate me a little bit more off the back of giving away that previous goal there through some poor passing and Quezada giving it away. And now Valise will get a chance, but unfortunately puts that one straight into the path of Aaron Ramsdale. We have 4 minutes of injury time to try and grab something back from this game, but now it is only 1 minute, and we try and play out from the back here. Niakate will pick out Jovic. Dominguez, though, kindly assisted there by Kieran Tierney, but yet again Ramsdale comes up with a good save. We will have a corner, but unfortunately looks like we are going to run out of time in this one. Most of our key players not playing that well. Obviously, that's why we had to take them off at half-time, and really just haven't recovered from our errors in this one, giving away a free kick late in that first half, and then that giveaway late in the second. So some late mistakes in both halves, and they have cost us as we suffer a 2-0 defeat here at the Emirates. As you can see, a game where there were a lot of yellow cards dished out, especially early to Arsenal, but unfortunately we could not make the most of that. We got going late in that second half, so maybe a bit more direct and with higher tempo did work against a team like this. Might be a case of against teams like this, we go back to our fluid counter-attacking style, because it might just suit against these big teams more than trying to be more dominant on the balls. Obviously did not work too well this time, but to be fair, it was just our errors that proved costly in that one, and we suffer our first defeat of the season, 2-0 away at Arsenal, albeit could be worse. Could be Manchester United, the second new manager this season, the one who actually stayed around, not doing a good job. They are only on 1 point after 4 games, and already a little bit distant from those teams who are outside of that relegation zone, albeit still very early days. But we do suffer our first defeat. It does mean we drop down to 5th for now, as we suffer a 2-0 defeat at the Emirates against Arsenal. And back in the inbox off the back of those 2 games in today's episode, both 2-0 results. A good win in the first one against Brentford, and then slightly frustrating result there against Arsenal, albeit somewhat expected against the team who are the current Premier League and Champions League holders. But both goals that we did concede in that one, very avoidable, and we weren't that dangerous in front of goal either. Arsenal did dominate possession, which is a little bit concerning with the style that we are trying to play, but certainly not a bad result. It is somewhat expected, but hopefully we can bounce back from that and get back on track in our next couple of games. And Ben Hardy did go off at halftime, but thankfully it's a minor injury, just a bruised ankle. But Sully still going to be out for 3 to 6 weeks with those sprained knee ligaments. That could be an injury that does affect this next period of our season. But that will do it for today's episode. A good win against Brentford, then a disappointing result away from home against Arsenal, albeit they are quite good in the save universe. If you enjoyed that episode, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying this series here on the channel, also consider hitting that subscribe button and turning that notification bell on as well, so you do know when a new episode does drop. We'll come back tomorrow, and I think the plan might be that we'll come back in the month of October. Obviously, the fixtures that we do come back for might be affected if we start to get on a decent run in that EFL Cup. But I think we might come back in the latter stages of October. Hopefully between now and then, we can do a decent job in the Premier League. Home games against Norwich and Aston Villa, and a Wolves team who did just find a way to stay up last season. I think those are 3 quite winnable games. Hopefully can pick up some decent points from those ones, and we'll come back and take on Tottenham at home. And then the FA Cup winners in Everton, the team that cost us European football last season. We might come back for that one and see if Marko Stamnik is actually getting any game time for those guys after he joined Everton over us, but we'll come back for those 2 games in late October in tomorrow's episode. So until then, thank you very much for watching, keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.